You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Hello and welcome to Orange County's longest running business talk show. And yes, I am your host, Rick Franzi. Excited to be here today. We have a great show planned for you. Why do you ask? Because we have a great guest, Duran Morley. He is the founder and CEO of not one, but two entrepreneurial ventures, Vanspeed and the Van Mart. So Duran, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited. Let's get into it. Take us back in time. Tell us your origin story. What was the original motivation or inspiration for creating your firm?
Yeah, so I grew up in Southern California. So for me, being involved in action sports and just the lifestyle around being in Southern California, from surfing to skateboarding, mountain biking, riding motorcycles, I was really embraced in the culture. So from going to the beach one day, to the mountains another day, to the desert, everything in between, the vehicle of choice was always a van. But back then, I didn't really have building out vans or parts and accessories in my mind. It was more something that allowed me to fuel my adventure. From a young age, I've always been into building, designing, creating, engineering, just tinkering with my hands to build whatever I could do to make things work. Later on, I was working with a company and I went on a work trip and I met this couple. They had a software company that they sold and they're traveling in their van. And at that moment, I kind of sparked, wow, all these years I've been doing it so wrong, just in an empty cargo van. I could be doing it so much better. So when I got back, I decided I'm going to go ahead and build out mine to make my trips and what I'm using it for a little bit better. Come to find out, there was nothing on the market. Everybody was buying things from Amazon, and it was very difficult to buy parts and accessories. And there's really no companies doing that. So that's when I set out. I was going to build an online store to create a marketplace of all different parts and accessories. So created a marketplace, and it took off. From there, we started getting people wanting to have us install the parts and build out their vehicles. That quickly turned into us building full vehicles. And then soon after that, taking my love and passion of building and manufacturing things to making all the different parts and accessories to go in these vehicles today. So it's been a journey. And of course, in the last few years, we had COVID that happened, which allowed a lot more people to get outdoors, but also strangled some of the supply out there. And production was very tough to get done. But we weathered through, and it allowed us to increase some of our production and manufacturing in-house. And that's really led us up to where we're at today.
Where do you do this?
So we're based right here in Westminster, California. So we're right behind the beach, Newport Beach.
And so everything is done on premise?
So everything's done on premise. So we're about just around 35,000 square feet of manufacturing. So we have fiber lasers, a CNC routers, a full carpentry, upholstery section, full fabrication. We have engineering on premise as well. So we could take an idea, a product from, the morning to at the end of the day, have actual real in live prototype in our hands. So it allows us to always try to own that manufacturing process end to end.
How old were you when you came back from that trip and decided you got to do it differently, outfitting your van?
So when I got back from that trip, I was about 16.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do something different. And then after that, it just kind of started off with just really idea, not even a business thought, just more of this is something I'm really going to enjoy. And then somehow it turned into a business.
I love it when I have an entrepreneur on the program who's the founder of a company out of a personal experience or need that realizes there's a market. I'm not the only one. I'm not a unicorn here. There are others who would. So over the life of the firms, have you had any moments of challenge or risk, serious risks to the business model? Anything that you'd like to share about the journey?
Yeah, I think every business is going to have its challenges and its ups and downs. Now, over the last 3 years, I guess it's been 3 years right now from COVID, that's been the biggest challenge for any business, not just with the shutdowns, but the supply chains and, everybody wanting the Amazon theory of everything now and quick, down to we can't get supply for months. How are we going to survive without supply? So has there been challenges? Yes, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy ride so far.
So if I get the chronology right, the online store came first, and then that led to the opportunity to actually do the complete kits and built out and vans and work on premise.
Exactly. So at that time, just like there really wasn't anyone installing it, there really wasn't a big DIY community, and there wasn't people that had full shops that were installing parts. So at that time, I knew how to install the stuff. So I decided, well, if you buy it online, you can come to me, I'll install it. And this is in my parents' driveway. From there,
Jeez, that's great.
which quickly, super time, it didn't go over well. So once you have a lot of people showing up, then it turns in, okay, maybe we need a space for this. So we actually worked out of a back alleyway of a friend's shop, and that grew into one part turned into 20 parts to 30 parts to 100 parts on one vehicle, which soon enough you realize we just built an entire van for this guy. And it was cool to really see this thing turn over quick.
Yeah, that's exciting to be in a business where you can actually see, touch, and feel the progress that you're making and the change that you happen. So that's very tactile and wonderful. I'm wondering, over the years, pivots to the business, any adjustments? Obviously, the growth of the business led you to kind of the path that we just talked about, but anything else that you could share with us?
Yeah, I would say a few of our biggest pivots really was bringing a lot of our manufacturing in-house. Nowadays, a lot of the companies are doing it overseas. I've always been very passionate about manufacturing and always had this thing in the back of my mind as to how can I always bring more manufacturing back to the US. So that was something that I sought after to do, not just because I love manufacturing, but also to bring more jobs to the US was a big thing. So bringing our manufacturing in-house was something that no one wants to think of or do or touch because it's just a headache. Now, my passion combined with that, it really allowed us to fuel the success of it, to really grow our manufacturing setup here in Westminster. So that's definitely been a big role to the last success of the years. Now, something we just recently introduced last 2 years is a section or sub-brand of a company called Vanspeed Pro. So these are all geared towards professional uses. These are your mobile medical units, mobile dog grooming, defense, government, mobile offices, mobile insurance, quotations, all different mobile uses. Now, as a lot of people become tighter in cities and brick and mortars are getting more expensive, people love the ability to have mobile come to the doorstep and then leave. And as a business owner, it's a lot more profitable. So that's been a slow change for us over the last few years, having a different section be mobile, which is not something I think we previously talked about.
So, did you have challenges finding the talent to outfit your manufacturing facility, or was that not a challenge for the business?
I wish it wasn't a challenge, but that is just one of the biggest challenges. Now, a lot of the trades have been lost over the years, and it's getting slimmer and slimmer as people are starting to move more towards, marketing and a lot more social-driven stuff. So, blue collar, just tradesmen have become very, very difficult. Now, we've inputted some technology into it, so we haven't had really need to do completely everything all manual, but that's definitely been a tough thing. Now, finding people, it just takes time, but once you find the right people, one person that is really solid can be worth 100 people that are subpar. It's really allowed us to excel with the team we have now.
I love the fact that you're doing that because I think you're fighting the conventional wisdom that manufacturing and everything has been leaving Orange County and Southern California since the large aerospace firms pulled a lot of their footprint out of here. But but to see someone committed to that model in this market is inspiring. and encouraging to me, because I believe in the strength of manufacturing in a community. It's really important. Really important. You know, you tell me, but observationally, one man's opinion, it seems like maybe, and it's generational, but there has been a resurgence of people who want to travel more locally, use their van as their mobile home. Is my observation accurate? Are you seeing that? Is that a generational thing, or am I mistaken?
No, I think people for a while they forgot what was in their backyard. How close national parks and just local traveling is. They're so caught in the thing of you need to be on a plane to go somewhere that's beautiful. There's so much local stuff that can be easily a weekend trip away, but it could feel like a totally different place. So yeah, I think I couldn't really tell if it's a generational thing or not, but I think it's just everybody got trapped in their phone for so long, and I think now people just forgot what was in their backyard. But now you see all these people traveling and just getting out.
Yeah, I'm a boomer, and so I remember in my younger days there were a lot of vans that had murals painted on the outside, had carpeting, etc. on the inside. I mean, they were, yeah, that was a
Oh
exciting
yeah,
time. Yeah, so that's the heritage maybe that you're evolving out of, and taking to the next level clearly with your firm. So let's talk a little bit more about Vanspeed. So help the audience to understand again the problem you're solving. Who's a great client? Like, what type of clients are you dealing with? Just give us a general sense for that.
yeah. So Vanspeed, in the whole of it, is a recreational vehicle manufacturer. So we primarily work on Mercedes Sprinters, but we take a empty cargo van and we convert it to studio on wheels. So this has extra seats, has a bed, has a kitchen, a cooktop, water tanks on board, hot water, solar. It's a full luxury vehicle. This is for the clientele that, imagine a 50-foot motorhome and you're condensing it down. But you can go ahead and park in your driveway. You could pick up your kids at school. For the person that drives an F-150 pickup truck 4-door, this is the same exact length as it. So it's really not that big, but these are mobile base camps. So this is the customer that if they're going to go to the beach for a weekend, they have a mobile base camp that is a step up from tent camping, but a step down from 50-foot motorhome. So it's a good combo, and the ability to be very agile and where you travel and when you travel has allowed this segment to excel.
I'm going to send the recording of your interview to a good friend of mine. We had dinner with them a couple weeks ago, and she was talking about, she's always had a large van with multiple seats, camped chairs. She's a road warrior in Phoenix, wherever. And
Yeah.
the next evolution of what she wants is exactly what you were just talking about. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say, hey, you need to talk to Duran and see what's going on with his company. So
Yeah.
as the founder, have you ever felt isolated or alone in this journey, Duran?
I think all founders and CEOs, I think that's the thrill of it, is to be moving in a direction that no one else sees or sees the vision or understands it. But for me, that's what I find, actually, I think the enjoyment of is pursuing something that no one else believes in, to make it happen and make it fruition and make it a real thing.
Have you bootstrapped this business? Have you looked for outside investment? What's the financial backing of the business?
So I get that a lot. This has been all self-funded, sell one, buy two, sell two, buy four. Have I bootstrapped it? Looking back, yes. There are some things we should do differently to make it more proper, but at the time, it's really all we could afford or do. And making a business in California is very tough. Just across the board on permits and everything. So,
Right.
At the time, is bootstrapping it was all we could do. So really, it just make it happen.
And is there a piece of business advice that you found particularly valuable that you could pay it forward and share with our audience today?
Yeah, one of the, there's a lot of really good advice I've had out there and I've heard and I've interacted with. I would say one of the ones that lives with me is probably from my dad. And as simple as it sounds, it's so crucial, which basically it goes, it takes someone to do something to make something happen. Essentially, the idea is that no one's going to do anything. You just have to start now, just get going with it, and you're going to beat out about 90% of the people. It just makes such a big difference just to get going on things because a lot of people will sit there and they won't move, and time will just pass. And that's been one of the biggest things that I've learned and seen and experienced time over time is just get going with it.
It takes someone to do something to make something happen.
Yep.
Did I get that right?
Yep.
That's part of the reason I love that, because that's part of the reason why I start out with founders asking for your origin story, because there may be a lot of people who have the idea, but there's a few of you who actually take the initiative and do it because it's scary, unknown, risky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a certain person to take action on what they believe in versus just lamenting. I could have, I should have, I would have. So tell your dad I like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, in your space, are you seeing artificial intelligence tools, or what's your view of it for your industry? Can you give us a sense?
Yeah. So, it's a little newer on our machine side, but we have seen some of the companies that develop our machines for manufacturing purposes start to implement AI in there to become a little more automated. We've seen it kind of on the outside, haven't really experimented a whole ton with it, but it's coming. I would say the easiest that everybody uses is ChatGPT. So it gets you a base. It's a lot closer than it once was. There's still a little bit to it, but it's coming. It's definitely coming. We aren't using it as like a day to day because there still is that nice personal touch that you just really can't achieve with that. But for some of the automated processes that are just repeat, it's really allowed us to help fill and complete those.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I think ChatGPT a year ago captured the imagination of many, became more than a product. It became an awareness of a technology that's behind it, and the progress that's been made in the year, not only on that platform, but on other software tools that are embedding AI into their performance. It's rapidly being infused in so many different aspects of business.
Yep.
It's exciting. So
Yeah.
something new to learn and figure out how to take advantage of, right?
Yeah, it's moving quick too.
A lot of money going into the R&D and the investment community into AI. So we will see. All right, so let's talk about the future. Grab your crystal ball and tell me, what's the vision that you have for the future of your firms?
So what we've been really good at is taking a product from idea to concept to prototype to like actual production of a vehicle. We've done that really, really well. And that's something that we've grown and filled in segments, not just from our recreational vehicle side. So thinking about like an RV to our commercial side, which has been growing. There's a huge section for us in the next coming 5 years that is going to be a commercial section. And a lot of people are wanting these mobile services. And it allows a lot more people, as nowadays, a lot of people want to be their own boss, to have a mobile business, but not be tied to a certain area. And that's the thing that we see is not just with our RV segment of people not wanting to be tied down, people like remote working in it and working from home in their van at the beach. That has become a huge thing. But people also moving cities and having the ability to move a business in a different city is a lot easier when it's mobile than it is if it's brick and mortar. So going back to what I was saying is that we do see a large segment in fixing a lot of these issues that people have with wanting to become mobile or wanting to work on the road or travel more. And that's where we see a large gap, and that's where our company's headed.
Yeah, because I think the technology for digital nomads, this is a perfect platform to do that, to work wherever you want to work from and have everything you need right with you. And that sounds such an attractive thing for a segment of the population who have now the ability to live that life for a period of time, and you're enabling it. Do you see EVs or autonomous vehicle? I mean, we're sort of off script and way into the future
Yeah.
potentially. Have you, in your mind as the founder and CEO, thought about what that might mean for your industry?
So they do have a few electric vehicles out there in vans. Mercedes, who we work very closely with, they just released one about 6 months ago.
Hmm.
Ford has a EV van as well, which we've actually gotten a few of them in. We're actually building some mobile libraries right now. So interesting, different segment, you know.
Hmm.
And those are all based on an EV chassis. So for all those mobile businesses, I think it's huge. Now, I think with someone wants to take a van to Sedona to go camp in, the EV segment gets a little tricky. I think everybody's biggest thing, right, is range anxiety.
Hmm.
You buy these vehicles so you can be off grid and explore the backcountry, or go down to Baja and go drive down, or drive to Sedona. So you want to be able to fuel up and be secure wherever you go. Um, I think once they fix that, which it seems like they're getting a lot closer. I read something today that there's a hydrogen EV combo that's ranging about 1,200 miles. So
Wow.
I think that's a good segment to go into. But
Yeah.
once they get that a little bit more, I think it's definitely going to take over.
I drive a Toyota Mirai sedan, and that's a hydrogen-powered vehicle, and it's been a great. I've had it 3 years now, and but the second generation vehicle, and um, it's a different. The car is great. The fueling is a different experience because
Yeah.
the finding the hydrogen stations is a little bit of, once you know where they are, you got to keep them in mind. But nonetheless, this is great. What about autonomous? I mean, who knows when that's going to happen? But that is the way the industry suggests it
Yeah.
might be going.
That would it would be interesting. Now a lot of our customers, we have a certain segment that they take them to the beach and they take them to weekend local trips. So they're all on paved roads. But there is a big portion of our customers that they are hopping off the road at,
Mm.
in Vegas somewhere, and they're driving all the way to Arizona to Utah completely on
Wow.
their roads.
Wow.
So how,
Yeah.
autonomous vehicles will hand up to that, that's
Yeah.
something we see. But it is something that, to get from destination to, or where you're starting to your destination, where you're gonna get off your road, it would be nice. Like, I'd love to lay back and click a button and have it, get there. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It has a little bit of time, a little bit of testing on the road. There's some bugs to work out there, I'm sure. But once they get that in place, I think it's gonna catch on pretty quick.
Man, I can just imagine what you can design when you don't have to have as much space dedicated to navigating the vehicle, and what
What
more they could do inside of it.
which is a crazy thing to think about, to have no steering wheel, no gas pedals. Um, that's gonna be a change across the board, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a cultural thing that could
It
take.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole different paradigm.
Mhm.
But, the future, it's in the future. It will happen, I'm pretty confident. I just don't know when and how, but yeah, this has been great. If someone wants to learn more about the firms or connect with you, Duran, how do they do that?
So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn.
Oh, good.
It's just my name, Duran Morley. Vanspeed.com, Vanspeed Pro for commercial, .com, and we're also on LinkedIn and Instagram. That we're pretty active on all those different social platforms. And if you have a van that you want to get some parts and accessories for, thevanmart.com is a great place to shop.
Well, I said at the top of the show, ladies and gentlemen, that this was going to be a great interview and we're going to have a good time. And you really did deliver. Thank you for your time today. I
Yeah,
appreciate it, Duran.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you to the audience. You're a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. Duran's show now joins our catalog of over 1,500 episodes. If you happen to be an Orange County-based entrepreneur or nonprofit leader, and you would like to share your story with our audience, then reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Rick, R-I-C, Franzi, F-R-A-N-Z-I. Coincidentally, that's our company's website as well, rickfranzi.com. And between myself and our producer, Haley Stern, we'll make it easy for you to get ready to be a guest on the show and schedule an appearance. We're now talking with guests about being on the show towards the end of July, beginning of August. So we like to plan ahead. Would love to have you on the program. And until next time we have a chance all to be together, I hope that your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.